interstate.
And I mean that, yeah, you got that 91 corridor.
Yep. Okay.
And they could just fly up and down that.
I got the word from the
nod.
the boss here that 6 o'clock.
Let's get things moving.
We're gonna start the select board meeting, so called to order. 6 o'clock. I'm gonna review the minutes from our January 18th meeting, which I have the minutes here, and there was just a couple of corrections. Let's see. Move to adopt agenda as Twin State meeting to attend. It was actually Capital Fire meeting to attend. And then Tristan spoke of the highway reporting to the select board monthly. So those corrections were made on the minutes here. So if anybody wants to review that.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of January 18th, 2023.
I'll second.
Discussion?
Just that we should include the proposed edits.
Which are included on the new ones.
Yep.
The current draft.
Yep. The most current draft. Yep.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Sign the one with the pink one, right?
Yeah. So minutes are approved. Any adjustments to agenda?
Nope.
Okay.
That's good.
Discussion on Christmas tree in the center of town. I don't think we have anybody here tonight that's in.
So it was asked of Mary Grant for it to be on the agenda, correct?
Right, but Mary's
not available.
not available, so we're gonna table that until a further date and
Sure.
move that along. Okay. Review zoning bylaws, which I actually have. I took a copy of. I got a copy of it.
I left my copy in the car, and I did review them.
I've been reviewing them this week and whatever, and of course it's not a lot. It makes a lot of sense and whatever, you know, it's stuff as a select board, but from everything that I've reviewed, they look fine and whatever.
Looks like there were no real major changes other than adding subdivision regulations in them.
And more wording has been changed in them as far as different aspects of words.
I think it's important to note that the zoning commission spent a lot of time work on this, and I think we appreciate that they're updating these. You know, it's something that needs to be planning commission.
The planning commission.
Yeah, I mean that it's being that they were very thoughtful and methodical in doing the updates to bring them up to date.
With help from NBDA, is that?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because the board would never have time to sit down and try to update the
Well, I know they've
zoning
been working on it
bylaws.
for probably 6 months or more.
Year and 6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've been working on it a very long time.
Yeah.
So what do we need to do with those? We need to approve those as a select board as,
A public meeting.
So I
okay,
think we have to, we vote to approve them, and then it goes to a public meeting before they're actually put in place, right?
so do we,
Public comment.
sounds like we need to make a motion to approve them as edited,
I think I just heard a motion.
as, to,
Yeah. And then I think you can do your public thing before.
Do the 5:30 again.
5:30 before a meeting, all right, so if I make a motion that we approve the zoning bylaws as edited,
November 24th, Tuesday,
November 24th, 2022, per approval of public meeting, right?
Now, I'm wondering if we should
I'll second that.
bump it out one more meeting, does it give us enough time?
So the next meeting is the
To double check with the
15th.
zoning to get here?
And then there's the 1st of March.
Yeah, it's the 15th and then the 1st of March.
It sounds like
So-
something good to do at the 1st of March meeting.
Okay.
And then we can, it would be good
And
to,
I gotta advertise it, so.
Yeah, so don't cut ourselves short, but
Okay.
I would say that sounds good, yeah.
Yes.
5:30.
5:30.
So I think if we put it out, I mean, if you're able to get it out tomorrow for public notice, then it's out for 30 days or a month, pretty much, 28
Do
days.
you wanna advertise 2 weeks or just one?
They just need to put it on.
Yeah, just one, yeah, that's fine, because.
The planning commission they've already had a public meeting for the exact same unchanged bylaws. So,
Right. Any more discussion on,
No, I echo Zach's sentiment that it's a lot of hard work and the board certainly appreciates it. That's one of those things, if you don't have a planning commission, then it's the responsibility of the select board.
yeah, well, I don't know how you have time to do
I
that
don't know
unless
how you would, yeah.
Yeah, I think, you know, our planning commission has put a lot of time and
time, and we really appreciate what they've done and the time they put into that, so we want them to know that.
Yeah, absolutely.
All in favor?
Right?
Aye.
All right.
Okay. Department updates, NEK, CUD, old cabinet easement updates.
So their zoning permit has gone past its waiting period, so they're good to start. So that got sent out to them. So obviously, we know the weather's gonna get cold for a few days here, but I think
Okay,
if they're able to, they're gonna start after that,
okay,
to lay the pad.
okay.
Awesome.
I don't know if they're laying the pad, but they're gonna start.
Yep.
They can officially start now.
And where, I don't even remember, where was the final,
East of
By the-
town, that
By
solar
the solar
panels.
panel,
Yeah.
the field.
oh, okay. Oh, so
Right in,
Dr. General's place
yeah,
there?
they approved it. They-
Okay,
And it's the first row of solar panels, and I think it's right behind it.
okay, good place for it.
We're right in the middle of those solar panels at the
Yeah,
field.
that one that sits really close, but there's
Yeah.
kind of a bigger gap.
Yeah.
And then there's road access there, so when they gotta check it or do whatever.
Good, good. They just work around Chester's stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, good. Infrastructure, project updates, sign agreement for engineering and services.
Lisa and I met with Sean from USDA this morning at 7:30. And it was really administrative more than it was anything with the engineering plans or otherwise. Basically, we went through all of the documentation to get through, what did he say, it was the America,
Build America program.
yeah, the Build America program. So we needed to get a waiver in by Friday, thus the meeting, so that we don't necessarily have to apply for all of those specifications, which adds more to it. In essence, what it comes down to now is, you know, we needed to get all of that pushed together so that it could go specifically to his supervisor at USDA to be approved, which we got word later this afternoon that it was approved officially. So we have officially, we are officially getting the grant money of $200,000 to go towards the project, which is good. A couple other things that we learned. One, the stipulation that I think I misunderstood it at some point, but what we discussed is the archaeological survey that needs to be conducted needs to be done before we break ground, not before we start the bidding process or otherwise. So, you know, we're working through some of these steps, so hopefully we're gonna be able to get this out to bid pretty soon.
He was hopeful that we put it out to, bid.
March?
Spring of 2023.
Yeah, as in like we could get it out in the next, you know, few like weeks, like 6, it sounded like. You know,
Yeah, if we can get
3
it
to
out,
5
I mean,
weeks.
as far as I'm concerned, by March, it could be ready, but so,
So I'm also, one of the things I'm gonna work with him.
March, April?
So one of the things that we talked about that I think I'm gonna explore with them is an actual press release about the project specifically. If we're able to get a press release out that this has all been official and we can get something into the papers over the region, that may prime the pump for some of the contractors, larger contractors that may bid on this, so that they have an idea that it's coming, so that when we do actually put it out to bid, that we'll actually do that. They're gonna be part of the bid process. I think that was said previously at a separate meeting, but their bid process is pretty close to what our you know, town process is gonna be. The only thing, we'll have to provide some information if we get less than 3 bids in to review, and there's a couple other things that go with that. Basically, you know, as it stands right now, we've gotten all of the administrative paperwork that needed to be done to move the project forward.
Do you guys accept the bid, or do they?
They will be part of the process, but we
we're
accept the bid. So for their purposes, it's making sure that we are following their specifications for the bids, but they don't have any piece in who accepts the bids or otherwise. only that we have to follow certain, there are a lot of, there's a lot of fine print in the agreement, a lot of which we're meeting, things like meeting Civil Rights Act and all those things that are part of our VLCT, you know, being a part of VLCT and things that we as a town have in place. I think there's some other pieces, Lisa, that you're gonna work on that he's mentioned, like some surveys. So with the Civil Rights Act stuff specifically, there's gonna be surveys that are gonna be given to town officials. So each of the select board members, the chair is gonna have to do a survey that just, you know, nothing that there's no right or wrong answers on those, so it's not gonna hold anything up, but it's due diligence that we have to do on our part, just to make sure that we're meeting all of those specifications. So, Lisa, did I miss anything?
I don't think so. I mean, he even mentioned that when we're ready to do a press release, we can contact this Kevin Lambert.
Yep.
And he said we might even be able to do one within 5 weeks.
Yep.
Press release.
Okay, good.
And we should have a letter of obligation, what did he say? 7 to 14 days from today.
That was the email today.
Yeah.
That's right. That's awesome.
Okay, great.
That's really good.
Good.
Yep.
Quick.
Yeah.
Thanks for being at that meeting and
Yep, yep.
whatever.
I want to just throw a special shout out to our road commissioner who just happened to stop by when we needed a witness for one of the papers. Was able to sign it. Harold just showed up and was like, "Oh," so
convenient.
it kind of helped out. It was convenient, but yep.
Okay.
So we're doing. I mean, it sounds a lot more promising than we previously thought. And with the letter of obligation coming, I mean, we're going to be able to move this, forward for sure. So.
Excellent. Good. Thank you. Highway, which you guys probably, I don't know if you saw the email, but I printed it off from Harold, the once a month update. So he said, hello, all. We received a bill for the box culvert for Powder Spring Road, slated to be done in the spring. He also said, I think we can use Highway Infrastructure Reserve Fund, which we need to talk about which fund, and borrow from the Equipment Reserve Fund for the balance to pay it. Once the check is cut, we'll submit the paperwork to reimburse for the grant. So we need to just discuss which funds we're taking that money out. He said, I ordered some cutting edges for a wing on Phillips' truck and the V-plow that were almost wore out. We'll need to order set for Phillips' plow soon. So the only thing that I'm going to say on that is when I went to sign the PO on that, is that he used 2 POs so that it would be under $1,000 in the same day at the same.
Oh, under 500.
Oh, under $500. Sorry.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, why couldn't we increase the PO, the purchasing to $1,000? What can you buy for $500?
Well, but I mean, when it comes down to it, it doesn't really matter. I mean, he's still submitting POs for us to sign off.
I know, but I was just thinking, instead of doing 2 separate things, he should be able to buy some cutting edges for $1,000.
Well, I mean, again, I'm not 100% sure why the purpose of doing 2 separate POs is, because
To keep it under.
he's very meticulous. Well, yeah, I get that, but he's very meticulous about any money he spends being on a PO that the select board signs off on anyway. So.
Well, he needed it, and he did it that way. But what I'm trying to say is,
Well, he should be able to call one of us and just get a verbal approval.
It's
That's
true.
what we've done in the past. So, and I don't have any problem with us putting it at 1,000. I just know that that's been our policy, has been 500 for a long time.
I mean,
And
we can write it up when we're doing.
yeah, I'm just thinking today's day and age. What is $500 buy?
No. Be done tonight, but I can write it up.
So I think $1,000 seems like a fair price.
We didn't last year because, so I mean, we usually go over policies in April.
Okay.
So I mean,
So
I
let's-
think that would be at the time
All
to
right,
address
cool.
that. Yeah.
Let's
let's-
look
It's
at
been
that.
brought up before, Tristan, so I mean, I think it's worth
All right, cool.
I don't
discussing.
I don't think there's,
The argument for keeping the PO number low is so that the board can keep track of expenditures better. But
I hope that our road agent that is
yes,
elected.
yeah, you're right. And I mean,
be
you
able
know
to-
better than we do. What the heck can you buy?
Yeah.
for $500.
Yeah, exactly. So.
yeah.
So anyways, we'll talk about that. He says it's been very busy couple of weeks. So the weather equipment's held up well. knock on wood, with a few minor breakdowns.
Okay.
So, thank you, Harold, and,
What did he said something about reserve funds for the
okay,
box
so what
culvert?
he said was, and we can talk
that's-
with Lisa, highway infrastructure reserve, so
Yeah,
highway infrastructure reserve and the equipment reserve fund.
But he wants to borrow from that,
Well, infrastructure doesn't have enough money to cover it.
yeah,
So we
right.
have to use
There's
two,
112.
But, and then it's gonna come, and then we're gonna get grant money back.
yeah,
So the only concern I have about that is using reserve funds for things that aren't covered under that reserve fund, that aren't qualified under that reserve fund. So, part of
we're
that,
just borrowing to pay
if it's a
back.
temporary,
It's a temporary-
until we get the grant funds to recoup
Yes.
it. But we still need to make sure that we're accounting for that, because I wanna, that's something that could be,
Use up all of one of the reserves, we get charged negative interest.
yeah,
And it's not good, we can't.
yeah, no,
Trying to solve that problem.
yeah.
Okay, so
I just want to make sure that we're accounting for it correctly so that it doesn't become an issue in the audit. Because then we're using funds from, but I mean,
So how do we know that? How do we know what we're, the way we're supposed to do that?
Technically, you're not borrowing it you're borrowing it for the highway. The thing that you're doing is the borrowing, not purchasing, let's say, of the project that is an infrastructure project, so I think it would fall under borrowing, not, you know what I mean? Like, the town is borrowing the money.
from ourselves.
From ourselves.
And then we're gonna, but didn't we just run into this with the fire department? And maybe it's not the same thing, but with their, they got hit with, money towards a claim for one of their vehicles that then but it didn't balance out the right way. So that's why I'm
But
just,
I think that was for years, wasn't
Yeah.
that 2 different years was one of them?
well, no,
And then
it's
once it's all
operating
said and done,
budget maybe,
Yes.
but.
It will go back, almost like the borrowing didn't even happen.
So when we get the grant funds, we're gonna
Move it right back.
move
Put it
back
right
into
in,
that. Yeah, I get that. I just wanna make sure that we have that
I would
outline.
write it up on that special warrant I do for reserves, what we're doing, because I have to do
Yeah,
one for taking money out, and I'll write it up.
Yeah, just make,
Borrowing it short term,
Yeah.
pay this until we receive.
to,
the grant.
yeah, to cover, until, that sounds fine.
I think it's only
Are those
like
two funds the way to do
$15,000
that?
too.
Those two accounts, meaning those, the highway infrastructure.
Yeah, the highway infrastructure fund is what it's for.
Correct,
That's
that's
for
that's where it
buying
would come
box
from.
That
The
already has-
equipment reserve.
Yeah, 106,
Is their own fund, so,
It has 103.
103.
Right,
So-
so they only borrowed like 15,000 from the.
Yeah,
correct. So do we
Again, I
do
just-
a motion? Do we need to do a motion on that to approve, taking money out of the infrastructure reserve?
okay, yep.
And the equipment reserve fund in order to pay the balance
So-
of the culvert, which is
I'll,
$112.
yeah,
$112,000.
where did it say that? Oh, okay. I make a motion for us to, for the select board to authorize the use of the highway equipment reserve fund to cover the balance of the culvert purchase until grant funds replenish that.
And
Borrowed amount.
Infrastructure reserve.
Yeah,
Use it to infrastructure.
yeah,
And.
so
equipment
I'll revise the motion, that we're going to use the highway infrastructure fund and borrow, what did we say, 15,000, or, I don't know that it matters,
Give or take.
approximately
Because you
$15,000
don't
from the
want to
highway
zero out the
equipment
other
fund
ways. Yeah.
to cover the purchase of the culvert pending the replenishment of funds from the grant,
Okay, I second it.
whatever. Something along those
And then
lines.
don't forget, it's really all the same thing, so you're really, one check will be written.
Yeah,
112,000.
and whatever we get back, we'll just get,
allocate it to the two.
Yeah, correct.
So negative interest doesn't
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
yep, that makes sense.
So it's not really pulling, borrowing money from different banks.
Yeah. I just want to make sure that we're not, running into issues where we're
Yep.
messing with things with
Like
those.
Burlington be negative of 1.2 million.
Yeah,
They didn't do it right.
we're not doing that.
Okay.
We're not doing that.
All in favor of that?
Aye.
signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay. Okay, good. Treasurer,
Okay, the town report, was mailed to, or scanned to the printing company, Repro.
and thank you, and I think we all were in to look at the town
Yes.
report.
Yep, we were, yep.
And it looked very nice, and thank you for all the hard work
The
that
only-
went into that.
I talked with Carrie and Lisa, and the only thing that we changed was instead of taking that landscape, we put a picture of Tristan on the front cover, so that everybody would know who the
Who to call.
chair went.
I
Yeah,
certainly appreciate
cell
that.
phone number and house number, and yeah,
All three emails.
Legislate number for car, everything.
Thank you.
this is what his pickup looks like if you
Yeah.
see him in town.
Yes, and the thing on the back cover with Aaron. No, great job, a
No,
lot of
yes,
work,
it's-
hard
yeah.
work.
So Monday, we'll get the final
Proof.
proof, and then we have, it's very short turnaround.
24 hours.
24 hours, we gotta send it back.
Okay.
If there's any corrections, that's when we have to pay more money.
Yep.
So,
Okay.
we're really hoping there's
Yeah.
no correction.
And I didn't read over every
Yeah,
certain
right.
department, looking
Yeah.
for every little detail, and neither did
And it's
anybody
just-
else.
I
Every,
didn't, really correct the write-ups that departments sent me. It's
Well,
on
that's
them
not-
to send to
right,
me
that's the department.
how they worded it. I just changed the font and fit it,
To
you know,
the-
so
Yep.
it was there.
okay, good.
I hope everybody likes it. We really, worked hard on it.
No, it's one of those things that we do that's always, you know, it's extra effort that we put into, you know, and especially, you know, Carrie and Lisa put into making sure that, you know, the town knows what's happening when it comes to, and that they're able to be well informed. I think that's the point of
Right.
what we provide. And we, you know, we have for a number of years gone above and beyond what we needed to put in the town report. And, you know, I think that's just, again, we want to be transparent so that people are prepared for town meeting day.
Right, and thank you, Zach, for the select board,
Right up.
right up in there.
I hope it wasn't too
So
wordy.
400 of them, 400 was mailed.
Okay,
So if anyone can always, if they were missed, because it's kind of a tricky program, it'll be on the website, and you can even contact us, and we can print one off the website and have printed for somebody to pick up in the entranceway if they want that.
Be great.
okay.
Yep.
What else?
Because we're only required to send one per household,
Okay.
Yep.
so,
It's really
That's
all you
fine.
need.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's-
I,
yeah.
don't-
Well,
I mean,
think
I
you
don't.
could
Me and
share the
Alyssa
house.
both don't need a town report. You know,
Didn't mail any.
And if you do, you know where to go get one.
state and stamp.
You got
Yeah.
lost in the mail. What else, Lisa?
just the agreement for engineering services that's in the folder.
Okay.
That Zach actually assigned, you guys need to look at it for, Ruggles Engineering.
Yep. Is this just an update because it's the new year, or is this
No,
for?
I think it's for this whole
project.
And Nate said it should be in the minutes, so
Okay.
that we're doing it. I don't think a motion needs to be done, but just that we're doing,
Okay,
Yep.
approving this and signing off on his engineering services.
Yep.
Okay.
So, and it looks like he's got amounts in here for what we'll owe them. I mean, it's all going to tie to the funds that we already have set aside and earmarked. So,
I know. Anything else, Lisa?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Town clerk?
Just was gonna touch on the, legislature did sign that bill,
which one?
What bill was that?
I think
not
there's that.
doing, that we could move
Town
town meeting
meeting.
date, that we could.
Oh,
go-
Australian ballot? Yeah.
That we could do with no meeting.
I'll,
And the funny thing is that someone did a survey on the listserv, and a lot of towns are gonna still
Do it.
change Australian ballot, even at this late date, they're changing.
Really?
I think we have tried Australian ballot the last 2 years out of the requirements of you know, the pandemic, and have found it very problematic with being able to be able
the
to
town
have a
discussion.
good town discussion. And I mean, I think it's created more drama than it's worth for towns, in my opinion. So,
You know, some people do, the hybrid version, where some stuff is voted, you know, before the pandemic, that's how some towns did it too, and I think the previous select board
Right.
wanted to look into that, but, the other thing that it changed was the Northeast Kingdom Waste
Man.
got approved, that they can just approve their budget, so there'll be no voting on that
Right?
this year or next ranked choice voting, starting with the 2024 presidential election,
Okay.
which would be next March.
So,
meeting.
What does that
How
mean
does that-
exactly?
how does that work?
That's, I vote you number one, you
You're
number
my
two,
favorite
me
choice,
number
you're two,
three.
you're three,
Oh,
you're
okay,
four,
okay.
five, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Think how many are on the presidential one.
Yeah.
Why don't we just do it the way the Greeks did and just appoint somebody? Draw your name out of a bag, it's a lottery, it'd be a lot
They're
easier.
having a lot of pushback, because obviously 1 year is way too soon.
Yeah.
Alright.
The whole state election would have, the division would have to get a whole new, software process to be able to handle it. Because as you vote, I mean, think of hand countdown. I
Jeez.
can't even imagine that you would have, every ballot would have, possibly 15 that are
Right in.
ranked that you gotta keep track of. And then, after you total them, say I picked you, but you were the biggest loser, you are out, and then I go to number 2, and now number 2 is number 1. It would be a
Yeah.
nightmare. So, a lot of people are pushing back, at least on the fact of it cannot possibly start with a 1.
Okay.
But that is, something coming through. The very big changes.
Okay.
Very big. The tabulator, training for the BCA, everybody, training for the public to even understand.
Yeah.
Think if you accidentally put Aaron and Jack for my number 1 choice, that's gonna ruin the whole thing.
Yeah, and I was the biggest loser.
Yours is that's sad.
Yeah,
So that's.
it seems problematic, it seems more complicated than it
Only
needs to
2 other states do it,
I
Which
swear,
two are
sometimes
those?
we
Maine
gotta-
and, can't think of the other one.
be.
Do it in Europe though, don't they? A lot of places over in Europe, I think, have ranked voting.
Yeah, there's some,
And I
yeah,
think
because then it turns into a runoff and all that stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
But so if no one, so if somebody gets 50% of the vote, that person's the winner. Nobody gets 50%, that's when it starts.
So it's a
kicks
runoff
in,
and all
yeah.
that other stuff, and, yeah,
But, so you're not even gonna have your results
no,
for a while.
no. Especially if nobody gets 50%, then you're doing,
Yeah. Then you're doing
now we're
two.
creating, and honestly, there's that becomes a budgetary impact too, because now we have to have the polls open a different day, another day for the runoff votes and all that
Well,
stuff.
no, it wouldn't be runoff, because you already have it all. It would just be
It's already
counting
been
and
runoff.
figuring out.
Yeah, well, no, but if you didn't have 50%, you'd have to,
No, then that's the plus side of rank
Yeah.
voting, it'll jump to the number 2 person. So say you
Okay.
vote and nobody got 50%,
yeah,
then they'll take the biggest loser will be out. All those people who voted for that biggest loser, their number 2 will now get their thing.
Will
Their
now be their
vote.
number
Number 2
one.
will get their vote.
Oh,
And now
yeah.
nobody gets it, now somebody could get 50%, let's
Yeah.
say.
Yeah, that's-
If nobody gets 50% again,
The next
biggest
loser,
loser's
yeah.
out.
And then you tally all from
Yeah.
there, yeah.
yeah, that doesn't seem like it's worth the headache,
It will be quite a bit.
yeah.
It's a bigger headache for the elections official in the town, I think. than-
Yeah. Well, the machine will have to
The
get,
machine will definitely be huge. I
Yeah.
can't imagine it.
well, and how do you do with, yeah, I was gonna say, how do you do?
Is that a
write-ins?
guarantee? Like, is that a definite thing that's gonna happen? We don't really know. It's just on the,
Well, it's a bill they're trying to pass.
Do you know,
but we don't.
It's not happening yet,
Okay.
and a lot of top people are pushing back on it, at least not happening
what's
next
the,
year.
what's the bill number, do you remember?
H-42. No, I lied, that's that one, that's the one we just passed. Shoot, I can't remember.
That's
that's
all right.
okay. You can look it up.
I'm gonna write a letter, cause that's just,
Should.
it sounds ridiculous.
H-42 was what they just signed.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so moving on, staying with election, the warning, is all ready to be posted with the voter checklist and all that, so I'll do that by the end of the week, get it out there at the schools, post to, and that part will be done. We did get a large, wonderful donation from the Blue Mountain Grange, again, for the food shelf. Boxes of food
Oh.
and some money, so
Thank-
we thank them.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, thank you, for sure, yeah.
Wonderful. The other thing I have is, I had a gentleman come in interested in, doing some stuff with the town.
Oh, great.
So, I thought he might come tonight. I told him to, maybe I scared him, so I told him to Google the.
Good job.
What's his name? Because maybe I'll try to get a hold of him. Try to talk it up.
We'll wait.
Okay.
But, I did look him up. He's not a registered voter, so he would have to register to vote.
Vote in town.
No
Right.
big deal.
Okay.
Get thinking about that after I didn't recognize his name.
Okay.
But he seemed very interested, very nice person, so that would be, I touched on a few things, dog bites and the rental properties and, and
Yep.
Dan would be available for helping and stuff like that, so
That's good.
he was interested. And that is it.
Okay,
Thank you, Gary.
thank you, Carrie.
And, we said so, but thank you to Blue Mountain Grange
Yeah,
again. I
absolutely.
mean, that's really great.
Yeah, it's a big, yeah.
Yeah.
Are you seeing anything more on the food shelf, more people coming, or it's about the same as usual?
It's the same, it trickles, it gets slow, and all of a sudden it's crazy busy,
Okay,
hard to really judge.
all right, just curious.
I had a gentleman deliver eggs, so that was nice.
Oh, I was here, yeah, running eggs,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Come
Okay.
in,
Good.
protected van,
Yeah.
I know, put it in the vault.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt.
One thing is, I guess I'll say, is the program that has provided those ready meals is ending at the end of March.
Okay.
So that the town has been doing for a couple of years now.
Okay.
They deliver it and they're frozen, little like TV dinner type things that are made at a lovely restaurant and are really nice, so,
Okay,
so that program has lived its course, so it's really ending.
good, thank you. Assistant Assessor.
Okay, so I completed the notary public training, got that done right on the wire,
Okay, good.
had it done on the 31st. So the maintenance contract that you got there needs
Here.
to be signed. It's for April 1st of 2023 to March 31st of 24. And they said they sent it out early so we could have the numbers for the budget. But the budget's all done and it's going up from 1,300 to
1650, I see, yeah, okay.
So, the other thing, I sent on the back of it there's an email, because I sent it to him to ask about, so this is not the invoice, which I think last year Lisa and I ended up paying it, but they're gonna bill it quarterly. And this is the tax map maintenance agreement. I
Yep.
wasn't sure, because we just got another one from them, so that's what this is, and it's for the next year.
Okay.
Next year, meaning this year.
20.
April of
For
this year
2023.
to 24, March of 24.
Okay.
The date's on the top there, Lisa's got a copy of it.
Yeah.
And they're gonna they bill it quarterly, which I think last year we paid it all at once, and I think that's why I put our number over in the budget. So, John and I had a Teams meeting, on the phone and the computer this morning with Barb Schlesinger, the district advisor, over the equalization study. When everything was said and done, there's only one property maybe can be added. The others were all ones that they had taken out that I had questioned. So there were like 12 other properties, but by the time we talked about them and she explained some more, the other thing they do is that I send out a sales verification form. So if there's a property transfer, I send a form to the buyer and the seller. And it's just checked, and they just check boxes and send it back to me. Well, then the state sends out a form also, so they sometimes get more information that I don't know. So, anyway, so she's gonna submit that one property, talk to everybody and see if that one property can be added. And then we talked some about, reappraisal, and we still won't know, we won't get our letter till probably June or July that says it's in order to reappraise. And we did talk about doing a statistical reappraisal, which would be We do a study ahead of time of like 2% or 5% of the properties. We submit a whole application, and then we just do a partial reappraisal of some of the new sales and the current sales and some of the other properties in town.
Okay.
So it's not gonna be, and that's something that John and I can do.
Okay.
And so there's paperwork that we've gotta do ahead of time, so that John will be on the list as an appraiser, and I'll be on the list, the state list, as an appraiser trainee. So then we can do our own work. So she's gonna get us all that paperwork.
And what's that called? What's the program called?
Statistical reappraisal. And I can't say it, so
Okay.
it's gonna be a
No,
long
that's
story.
okay. That sounds great. Okay.
And so we just really, it was like an hour and a half or 2 hours. She really went over a lot of the paperwork and the whole process. It's a process. But we can't even, we really need to wait for our letter. We need to sit patiently and wait for our letter. We'll get another letter before that will tell us about whether they're gonna take that one property and add it to the reappraisal.
Okay.
To the equalization study. And in the course of doing all this, we found 3 or 4 properties at least that are in the wrong category, which, like some of them that are on the pond are 0 for other, but they were like S1s, seasonal 1 or resident 1. So we found a lot of other things that we were fixing.
Okay.
So,
Good.
And one thing that we've got to do this year, the reappraisal will probably be at least 2024, but in 2023, John's got to go through and review all of the current use properties, which is about 65 or so, and make them all the same because there are discrepancies with how the land's graded.
Okay.
And so she said that needs to be done now, and I asked if that was considered reappraisal to kind of use some of the reappraisal funds for some of his time, and she said, no, that's current use and that's updating. So, but once we get into doing the reappraisal things, then we'll keep track of our time. This is reappraisal, this is regular time.
All right.
So that'll come out of the reappraisal funds. So, I think that's it for this week.
Okay, perfect.
That
Excellent.
letter, did you say that's not coming till like August or something?
July, June or July, yeah. And in the middle of all this, or behind all this, is there's a lot of changes that they're looking at in the legislature because of 2/3 of the state needing to be reappraised. So some of those changes may change and affect things that she told us today, and they may be different by the time it's all said and done.
Okay.
Because it's tied up in the legislature.
Of course.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great story. Fast and fire.
I don't have any.
So I was thinking, since, we're doing the road agent once a month, we're doing an update. It would be nice to actually have an update from like fire or fast once a month and an update from the constable and wouldn't that be nice to, I mean, and they don't have to be here necessarily, but like drop
No, yeah, like you
an
said.
email or just a quick, they can call one of us or whatever, just so we have some kind of a report.
Yep,
Like, what's going on?
yeah, no, that makes sense, yeah.
Okay, cool.
No, that,
You know,
that makes
do-
perfect sense.
I mean, we treasurer, town clerk, assistant assessor are usually here, but
Right.
fire, constable, any of those right down through, I think.
Right.
Constable, library, zoning administrator.
And the library, she's in some,
Yeah.
so I just feel
Yeah.
like we, you know,
I'd
it's
say once a month.
once a
Yeah.
month, or
Yeah.
give or take, just a little, it doesn't even have to be anything.
No, like we said with
Just
Harold
something to say.
last week, like last meeting, like even if the note is, I don't really have anything to say. You know, like but
Just something,
Yeah, it's
an update.
No
No,
real changes in my department in the last.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think, you know, what Harold provided was
perfect.
Right.
perfect.
Great.
and
Yeah.
That
Fabulous.
is very helpful for us to know what's going on, I think, so, yep.
So constable, same thing, have you talked to Mark or heard anything?
I don't think I've seen them.
Okay,
I know, I did notice the information that was put in the town report about dog licenses and stuff like that, which was really good. So I think we do that every year anyway, right? But, you know,
And, I did see it because he was working on a dog issue. I gave him the first warning letter to deliver to the person.
Okay.
Um,
Any word? No word on
No, I
that?
didn't hear back from him. One other thing I guess I'll say, not really right here, but the rabies clinic,
Okay,
March 8th,
okay,
okay,
at the town highway garage.
at the town highway garage, correct.
okay.
We had to
Rabies.
we had to switch the date around because March 15th is a select board meeting, so it wouldn't work for me to be
Right.
missing that one, so.
Okay.
We could just hold the meeting up there.
Yeah, we just have it right there, bring the dogs right in through here.
There you go.
Be a distraction.
Same with zoning, we haven't heard anything from Dan, and I mean, you
Dan,
kinda
I
keep
say,
in
he
track.
comes in- He come in this week, you know, he did the NEK solar panel, final solar panel.
Right,
He's got the issue with the possible cell tower calmed down,
okay,
so we had a nice chat with the person who was concerned, so that got taken care of. And
Right.
that's it, I think there's one other
Somebody was concerned.
Yeah.
I'm concerned about how that works from a taxation and, you know, how that all gets worked out that way, because I think there's, you know, some zoning things that come into play. Other than that, I mean, it'd be nice to have cell service.
no doubt.
Yeah.
Might just be a good
One
thing.
other property that he's dealing with is lot line adjustment, so that's happening. I think they're closing on the property, so
Okay, good,
and that's it for zoning.
okay, good, thank you. Health officer?
Nothing, but I was gonna say, I was in
That's
the
you,
library.
Tristan.
That's you now.
No, I haven't
So,
been- I haven't got the book.
He's got a badge too. Make sure you know.
I haven't got anything. Hasn't been transferred.
I don't wanna skip all the library. I did stop in the library this afternoon.
Okay,
You know, she's doing, Friday nights, she's doing programming at the library to try to get some folks in, so they're doing a movie night this Friday night. I think she said that all of this will be out on their Facebook page, I'm sure, but I think next Friday they're gonna do a game night, so there is stuff, you know,
Okay,
activities
good.
and things happening at the library, which is gonna be great. And, you know, they're still open and, you know, it was a half day today, my kids
She
went.
changed her hours, so she's
Oh,
like,
okay.
she added a day, so it's,
Yeah.
I think it's
Closed
better.
Sunday, Monday, open Tuesday through Saturday.
Makes
That's right,
sense. Yeah.
Story time is now Saturday mornings.
Yep.
Know that part.
Oh, good.
And
Good.
on Wednesdays, she was, I think they closed at 4, right now they're open till 5 or something.
Well, I might be able to make it down there now with those better hours.
There you go, yeah.
Story,
Make for storage.
story time. Find another health,
It's a yard swap on Saturday.
I'll find another health
A
officer.
yard swap on Saturday at the library?
Is that where you go and tell
That's
stories?
where I'm gonna, no, I'm gonna bring my yarn and I'm gonna swap.
There you go. Trade yards.
Anything on health officer stuff?
No, I think nothing really
Okay,
at
good.
this point. I would
Maintenance?
just say from a health officer standpoint is, it's winter, so make sure that people are bundling up and checking on our elderly neighbors so that if somebody's heat goes out, they don't die of
Right.
the
Somebody
cold.
falls down in their driveway.
And dies.
Yeah, slides into the road, gets run over.
No.
It happens. Be careful. It's
And don't let your pets out when it's 20 below unless they have a little jacket on.
Don't forget your
What has happened to
don't
our
forget your
city?
ball mittens.
We used to have we could have a month of weather like that. Like,
I remember one.
We're having like 3 days of it.
below.
Yeah.
I know. A few years ago.
I know. Maintenance?
I don't think there's anything going on.
Okay. IT?
I had a nightmare on email, sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
It's not a big deal, we don't even have to talk about it. But my email was not sending, I could receive emails, I could not respond.
Okay.
Gary worked day and night, million hours, trying to figure it out. Had to do tech support through the place, I had to send them all sorts of weirdly saved files. And they found that Groton VT was tagged, GrotonVT.com was tagged as spam. So everything I sent bounced back. It was a
With
nightmare.
an email that comes from GrotonVT.com, it was still labeled as spam, that's just.
Yeah, so the people behind the scenes did magic and it's working.
Unspam, Jeff.
Gary was just fit to be tired.
Oh, no doubt,
He
yeah.
could not figure it out.
Oh, good, well, same old stuff.
Good that it's fixed,
Yeah.
Planning commission, anything?
just that we approved.
They're
this.
waiting on us to approve the bylaws, I think.
Right, okay.
And the hazard thing, we still gotta look into.
What are they, do you know where they're going to after the zoning bylaws, what they're gonna focus on?
I think we're trying to wind down that hazard mitigation because it's right there. And then maybe they can,
Maybe you can trash
plan.
Maybe you can do, yeah,
yeah,
do the plan or.
pretty close.
Trash ordinance or.
Well, we're gonna, yeah, hopefully we're gonna work on that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Yep.
Open to public? Okay. The only thing I had put on the bottom was speed sign on Route 302 discussion to keep, I've heard, there's still discussion that it would be nice to have
Oh, yeah.
speed signs when you come
Okay.
into Groton.
Yeah.
People have commented and said, hey, it'd be really nice that it reminds you that you're speeding when you come into town. I don't know what we got, we kind of,
I need to follow up on it still, but, the last correspondence, when I was discussing that with the Transportation Commission, was that, we have to do some stuff
study.
for, well, which we did already, because when we changed the speed limit,
right?
they did that, but, I don't know if that's still gonna be relevant, when we have to do another study.
Well, if you want me to help you out with that, let me know where you left off and what we need to
Let me,
do and see if we can
Yeah, let me do
keep
some.
working on that.
Yeah, let me work on that.
I go
See if we can
into
find some.
Burke and stuff, they have one and it makes me
Yeah.
think, boy, it'd be nice, cause
Part of it's because, where we have them, we can reposition them on town roads, but because 302 is not a town road, it has to go
Right.
through the state, so it's, there's a lot of fiery hoops to jump through.
I
on it,
have
so.
the thing still, and I can make copies and leave for you. What is it?
It's the radar.
Yeah.
Guidelines for use of radar speed feedback signs on the state highway system.
Okay.
All the rules, guidelines.
Yeah.
alright, yeah, let's see if we can keep plugging away at that and see
Yeah,
what
I'll see if I can
happens.
take that on and
And like
pull
you
up
said,
what
if you
I've
need
got.
a
What is
hand,
it?
So,
Notes from before?
yeah.
if you need a hand, Zach, let me know what
Um,
we need to do.
My recollection of when I went down that it was not a for sure thing.
Okay.
So that's the, I'll go back and see if I can restart that process.
Okay,
But
alright,
I'll,
The
so
other
that,
thing I think we wanted to talk about was the follow-up for the alarms, the 3 buildings, or
Yep.
whatever.
oh,
I
yeah,
have not done much on that,
okay.
so that is still on my list
So I'll
of
put
things
like
to
at
do.
the bottom, I'll put
Yeah,
like a
yeah,
follow-up thing.
we have a couple things that just kinda keep
Keep it,
whatever,
yep.
keep, check in on at our meetings, okay, good. Set an agenda for our next select board meeting, anything special?
Something's bound to come up.
nope, I would suggest that, like, the NEK CUD, that we move that down with, like, the other,
The Route 302
and that,
discussion.
yeah, with
Yep.
all of the other pieces, all of the other departments that were asking for like a monthly update.
Okay,
And, just because at this point, the only reason we were keeping it at the top of the agenda was because of the OLT cabinet. And that's not here, and the easement's being taken, like, all that's being
so
taken.
that sounds
care of, so
good.
it's-
Yeah.
Do we even need to,
I would
does
keep,
they even need to be on there?
and maybe just keep NEK CUD on there.
I would just
because
keep
that
it
was
as
that was a request from Mike Geis.
Yeah,
Alright,
we should just
So-
keep the NEK CUD, cause we are, Mike Geis is our representative there, but.
right,
What did he want? I would almost keep NEK CUD slash
VORAC.
VORAC.
Yeah, the VORAC
As
was
a-
the other part.
okay.
Yeah, as a line on
And
there.
the VORAC was, because Mike Nemius is kind of spearheading that could fall under planning, but, again, it could be its own thing.
They have their own. Yeah, I think they all have their own. So.
And Tristan, did you wanna talk about the procedures for for select board meetings?
Oh, well, I'm working on reviewing the procedures, which I think you guys had talked about, but I was trying to make them a little bit more simpler and
Yep.
like a one-page
So,
type thing, but,
what we put together did come from VLCT. That
Okay.
was their
Lawyer's
recommendation,
recommendation.
for what's there. I mean, to simplify, I would say, maybe what we do is put together a handout kind of a thing that
Yeah.
people can so that it covers a lot, but, then it's,
like a handout, a simple handout, like.
Yeah, that's right.
These are the
People aren't
procedures,
trying
and
to
blah,
read
blah, blah, and
3 or
so
4
on and so
pages of
forth,
stuff.
is what I was trying to read.
Yeah. Might not be a bad idea on the website, you click on select board to have rules
Right.
and procedures for, meetings on there too, so.
Okay.
I think,
So-
the biggest thing is, and I'll be frank about it, is, meetings like tonight where we don't have a huge attendance, and we, the meeting is the select board's meeting, obviously, but, when we do have large attendance and we've got things that we're discussing, that tends to create, it's almost 6:55 and
Right.
we're almost done with the meeting. Some nights we're here till, we're hard pressed to be done by 8:30 some nights. And I think the reason behind those rules is to keep the meetings moving,
Right.
so that we have better, I think, control of.
Which,
the
we've said, it's a
outbursts
select
and
board
comments.
meeting, and we're trying to conduct business here and make sure the town is running smoothly and so on and so forth is the end goal here.
Yep.
So anyways, but, we'll work on that.
If somebody has something to bring before the board, they can always contact either the chair or the select board secretary and actually get on the agenda.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then they can, and if
Which is the
not,
way it really should be.
which is how everybody wants it handled.
Right.
But if something comes up this morning and you wanna talk to the select board, there's always a spot at the end of the meeting that's open to the public
Yeah,
and other
absolutely.
business.
Well, and I
So-
think the other thing to be made clear is, obviously we're conducting business for the town of Groton.
Right.
And, what we need to, I think what is part of the rules that we wrote that I think needs to be made clear is, we are trying to avoid sidebar conversations
Correct.
and
Yes.
interruptions to the discussion being had with town officials, with those, and, it still indicates, because it's under open meeting law, that we need to provide, we need to provide an opportunity for the public to comment.
Which
but
is
that should
right
be, that should be but
At
by
the
open
end,
meeting
right.
laws and by what we provided, it needs to be done at the end of every agenda item, because they need to be able to comment on each agenda item. So I would caution, as you research it with VLCT, because when we did that before, it wasn't you can't just wait for everybody to comment at the end of the meeting. There has to be a comment, the ability for people to comment on the topics being discussed.
Okay.
As they're being discussed.
Okay.
So,
But I think, yes, and I think to make Tristan happy, I think everybody gets one chance to say something.
It's not about
It's
me.
not gonna be a back and forth, a
there's,
back and forth,
you
a
know,
back and forth.
And there's nothing wrong with us specifying, look, we're gonna give everybody the opportunity.
It says right here in the
Yeah, 30
rules of
seconds or
procedure
something.
about, so, good, okay. Sign orders, I think we already signed all the orders, but,
There might be a few POs in there.
Yeah, I think.
we already been through them.
we've been
We are
doing it while we're
efficient
going.
tonight.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Okay,
Second,
second, all in favor?
right?
Aye. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tristan. Great job on your first meeting as the chair.
No, second.
Oh, second, that's right, yeah, second.
Second, I'm just getting warmed up here.
Getting warmed up, okay.